Today we are going to start the most important topic of class 12, that is principle of inheritance and variation. Now before I start into this topic, I want to say that all of you, both of all the CBSE and ICSE board, all of you have studied this portion, that is inheritance and variation. Now what is inheritance and what is variation, or rather what is genetics? A very plain and simple question, or very plain and simple answer is, genes are the fundamental units of heredity. We all have studied since our lower classes. So now the thing is that, what is variation? Suppose we are seeing that a plant which produces white flowers, after it is being crossed with a plant which is having red flowers, it produces a kind of flowers which is neither red nor white, but it is having a pinkish type of flowers, is the variation that we are talking about. It was a normal, till now what I have said, that is a normal definitions of inheritance and variation that you have studied in your books. Now to be very simple, inheritance is genes from one generation to the next generation that are being inherited, means from parents to their offsprings. The transfer of genes that takes place is known as inheritance. This is the most simple definition, that always the offsprings have got genes from their parents. So that is what this phenomenon is known as inheritance. Now it is not always that parents and offsprings, they will not always be looking similar. They can't be similar. There has to be certain difference in their characters. That is what we call as variation. As I said, that if you go to the depth of genetics, you will be finding, in normal we say that both are having same meaning, but no, if you go to the depth of genetics, you will be finding that two things are quite different from each other. Inheritance means when genes pass from one generation to the other, and variation is between the parent and the offsprings. Maybe they are having same physical appearance, but their genetic constitution or their characters may not be the same. They are having variation. So if I now ask you, what is genetics? Branch of science that deals with the inheritance of, or rather inheritance as well as variation of characters from parents to offsprings. This is what we do call as, or this is what the branch of science genetics talks about. Now the one question, often you will be finding that the biggest example of variation is sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction is the phenomenon by which we see that the gametes, they cause variation within the human beings or within the organisms. And the most important term over here is How this variation occurs in sexual reproduction? By the help of the term you all have studied, crossing over. We all know that a chromosome consists of a chromatid and a centromere. Now this is the particular region where you will be finding that this is a homologous chromosome and this one is a homologous, the other one is also a homologous chromosome. So there are two pairs of homologous chromosomes, and both when they overlap at a particular region, we call this to be as crossing over. In cell division in class 11 you have studied that this is the region through which genes are being transferred from one homologous chromosome to the other one. This is what we call as variation, and due to that, till today you will not be finding that the parents and the offsprings are having similar phenotype or similar genotype. Even if the phenotype is similar, their genotype will not be ever similar because there will be slight difference. This is the main fundamental concept of genetics. Now next thing is that often we find genes are also being present together. When genes are present together, we call it to be as recombination. That is, a group of genes when present together, we call it to be as recombination. Now let us discuss to the next portion, that is how this variation occurs. Apart from this, you will be finding the two things. One is artificial selection. What is artificial selection? In your NCERT book you have come across this term. Artificial selection is done by human beings. The biggest example I can give you that we have taken or we have selected two plants. One is a red color flower plant and the other one is a blue color flowered plant, and I want to produce a different type of flowering plant. So maybe I want to produce, or I want to get a color which is bluish red flower. So this is how I have done the selection. I have taken this type of red flower and blue flowers, and from there I have got a special type of color. Since I wanted to make a bluish red flowering plant, so I have taken these two flowering plants which are being available naturally. So this is what we call as artificial selection, and by artificial selection we can produce variation. This is what principle of inheritance and genetics, the introduction part of genetics, talks about. Now, who coined the term genetics? These questions were being asked previously in the state board level NEET examinations and all, or in WBJE. Nowadays it is not being asked. W. Bateson was the scientist who discovered genetics or coined the term genetics. Variation, you can say the degree of difference. Father of genetics. Father of genetics is, we all know, Gregor Johann Mendel. Father of modern genetics is W. Bateson. Father of experimental genetics is Morgan. Father of human genetics and biochemical aspects is A. Garud. And A. Garud was the scientist who first discovered in human the first metabolic disorder, that is alkaptonuria. This was the first human metabolic disease discovered by A. Garud. Now we will be coming to the certain terms that, or the terminology that we are normally seeing in the or you'll be coming across while studying the genetics, because molecular basis of inheritance is another most important part of this portion or of the syllabus. So what basically we will be seeing over here, certain terms like the first term, factor. What is factor? Unit of, in your books, or often I say unit of hereditary appearance, unit of hereditary appearance, which is responsible for inheritance and appearance of characters. Yes, often we say that this is the character, I say red or tall. Example, I can give you red and tall. So this is the appearance that I am talking about of a particular organism. In simple term, remember, factor is nothing, it's the genes that we are talking about. Now, apart from this, you will again come across a simple term, that is allele. Now, often I hear that what is an allele? Students get mixed up that this is not an allele, this is a gene. Let me clear you out that alleles are alternative form of a gene which is located on same position. In the book you will be coming across this term loci, that is loci, on homologous chromosome. So allele, what do you understand by the term? And this definite word was being given by Bateson again. He was a great geneticist at that time. Remember, we often see that a chromosome has got such type of appearances, and these are the chromatids, and this is the centromere. Now, as we all know that one of the chromatid comes from the father and the other chromatid comes from the mother. So if this one is the chromatid which comes from the father, so this one is one allele, and the other allele which comes from the mother, this one is another allele. So two alleles, take for example, I say that these two alleles, they combine and form a zygote. This is a capital T and this one is small t. So together it forms a zygote. Now from this zygote, when we will be getting what the books say, you will be getting two such type of alleles where you will be finding this one is having T and T. So this is capital T, capital T. You will be getting another one small t and small t. So you will be getting another allele. So these are the two alleles, the capital T and capital T, small t and small t. So both the alleles are coming from the zygote, and these are the genes which are being, means these are the alleles which we are getting from our parents, and together these two alleles, they form a gene. So always remember, a gene consists of two alleles. One is being inherited from the father and the other one is being inherited from the mother. Now this is what we call this to be as a zygote, means the combination of the two genes which we are getting from the parents. And thus what we will be saying, just now I said, you will be seeing that the next word that is coming across is homozygous. What is homozygous? A zygote formed by two different alleles of a particular gene. Now as I say that this is the allele which I have got from the father and this one I have got from the mother. Now these two combine to form a zygote. Now if I say that suppose our allele consists of two different gene alleles of a particular gene, So if I say over here capital T and capital T, both are having what? Same type of alleles, two different alleles of a particular gene. Two different alleles means I can say that, two identical alleles, it would be two identical alleles of a particular gene, means capital T and capital T, both the alleles are coming from the same parent, that is from the same father, and that's why we call such type of alleles to be as homozygous. Now similarly you can understand that heterozygous will be what? Heterozygous is allele which comes from, or rather a zygote formed by two different allele of a particular gene. Now example, if I say capital T and small t, these are the two alleles which are coming from two different, one from the father, one from the mother. Coming from the capital T and small t. So these are the two alleles which are coming from the different parents, and that's why we call them to be as heterozygous. Means in homozygous both the alleles are coming from the same parent and are having the same and are forming a gene, and capital T and small t are the different alleles coming from different parents. So always remember, two alleles always represent a gene. This is what we are talking about over here. Now apart from this, you will also come across a thing which many of the teachers or many of the students, they don't discuss actually, that is hemizygous. Hemizygous is an individual which contains only one pair of genes. Example, male individual having X and Y sex-linked genes. So over here X is a allele and Y is a allele, but this Y allele is not totally a complete allele because Y gene does not exist. It is that chromosome which is not having another chromatid. One chromatid is absent over here. So we say this Y gene to be as a, we can say this as a null one, means it's non-functional. That means a hemizygous individual will be representing a gene by the help of only one functional allele. The other allele is non-functional. This Y allele is non-functional. So this is what hemizygous is all about. Now apart from this, we know what is we can also say that genotype, this is another definition, the genetic constitution of an organism. The genetic constitution of an organism is known as a allele. Example, capital R and small r represent pink. So represent pink, but normally what is the genetic constitution? Capital R and small r. Even we can say phenotype. Phenotype means the physical appearance of an organism. The physical appearance of an organism. Example, capital R, and capital R represents red. Capital R and small r represents also heterozygous red. So what you can see that over here the two genetic constitutions are different, but the physical appearance is similar. Over here what I said, that capital R and small r, this is the genetic constitution. These are the two alleles. This is one allele, this is the other allele, and together it forms a gene, and it is giving either a pink color or a red color. So that means this is the physical appearance that I am seeing. What I can't see is the genetic constitution. So remember that whatever the genetic constitution, what we are calling it as genes, genes are nothing. It is the combination of two similar types of alleles coming from the same parent, or two different type of alleles coming from the different parent. This is what we call as phenotype and genotype. Now before I complete today, the last thing that I want to discuss with you is hybrid vigor. Hybrid vigor is what? Hybrid vigor is superiority of the offspring over their parents, that is developed due to heterozygosity. Means suppose I have taken two superior parents, one a male and the one is a female, maybe two buffaloes, one a superior parent, so a male and a superior female. So the production of when after they are being crossed, their offspring will be much superior than that of their parents, and that is what we call as hybrid vigor. And the phenomenon by which we are talking about, that is known as heterozygosity. Means simple term, the offspring will always be much more advanced compared to that of their parents, even if the parents are much superior. This is what we are talking about over here. And one more thing, that is phenocopy. Phenocopy is different genotype are placed in different environmental condition produce same phenotype, then these genotypes are said to be phenocopy. Means one, I have taken two individuals or two organisms and both are being placed in different environmental conditions, but the phenotype that I am getting from there, both are having same phenotype, but both of their genotypes are different. I am taking two plants, one is having capital R and small r genotype, and I have placed it in a cold condition, and another one I have taken capital R and I have placed it in a humid and hot climate. But the phenotype that I will be getting from them will be the same. Both will be having red color appearance or red color flowers. So this is what phenocopy is. The only thing is different genotype, different environmental condition, but same phenotype. This is what the introduction of principles of inheritance of and variation we have talked today. My next video will be on the genes and alleles, how they are being formed, what is the concept of dominant and recessive. We will be talking about that in the next class. Thank you. If you like it, subscribe to my YouTube channel.